such sights to show you.
You are all going to die tonight.
This is bad comedy.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Right then, here we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's Sunday night. We're talking shite, so it's got to be Onion Geek is showing. With me today, as usual. She's the Wednesday night delight. She's talking shite as well. It is Cali Valentine.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show.
Indeed. And with us, joining us once again, it's the man with the plan is Mr. Jimmy Lee. How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. I was planning. Yeah, everybody knew about the plan. There was a plan to bring me back here.
The plan.
So now you know.
Excellent. So, how we all been? Good?
2 seconds. I just need to sort my sound levels because you're not coming through quite loud enough.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Tech issues.
Yes, they do persist.
We're live now.
On retirement
Yeah,
home.
now I can hear you better.
Tech check testicles. 1, 2, 3.
Great.
Okay. So, after that, let's get into the show. Hurrah! It's time for the shout outs.
Okay, well, only one shout out this week, and it is from the man, the myth, the beard, Mr. JK47, the Ginger Ninja JK. And
JK.
he says, here we go. How do robots each other in the rear
Robots
exhaust?
want each other.
Each other.
You can say fuck, Kelly.
I'm trying to keep the language level down.
Oh.
Fuck.
Fuck.
There's our one per episode, everyone.
Fuck, fuckity, fuckity, fuck. Motherfucker.
I thought it would be with a USB port, but
Right. Continuing. How do robots fuck each other in the rear exhaust? Yeah, enough bad jokes from me. I've heard worse, usually from Guy. And definitely from Jimmy.
Ooh.
Sitting down there looking like a Wish.com John McClane.
Oh. Hey, he's not the only
I
one
knew
rocking
that
about.
was coming. Yeah, the wish.com John McClane.
JK goes on to say, I really need to get me a Hellraiser puzzle box. Not a real one. Well, maybe a real one, but a good quality one at the very least. I've seen a few online, but the quality seems dubious. Yeah, my one, I bought it off eBay. And it's not the greatest quality. It is a very heavy resin, and it can be opened, and you can change the configuration. I'd say for the 20 guy, I'd say the 20-ish pound that I paid for it, it was worth it. But I have seen, and I've mentioned this before, in the same shop that I bought the Necronomicon from, they have got an actual Hellraiser Inferno prop replica. And it does look like it did in the film, and it is stunning, but it's also incredibly expensive. It's £100, and it's not much bigger than this one. So it's expensive for something quite small. But
Is it made of wood?
I think so. I think it's actually wood and metal. I don't think it's brass. I think it is actually a wood block with metal plates on it and then given the brass coating.
Mm.
But still.
So it wouldn't move around.
I don't think it can. I think it is just a solid piece,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So if you want something like that, unfortunately, yeah, you've got to kind of cut the quality a little bit. It looks nice. It's a nice display piece. Are there better ones out there? Yes, but they're also more expensive and they do less. So,
Well, it's me, so I'd have to have a transformed.
yeah. Lucy Lawless is like a fine wine. Enough said.
Mm-hmm.
The boys, hell yeah, so far so good. Doctor Who, I haven't watched the new season apart from the Christmas special. I'll wait till the season's done, then binge it. To be honest, I'm like that with a lot of seasons at the minute. Like I usually wait for stuff to end and then binge watch it. But the boys, as soon as a new episode's on, I'm watching it.
I'm
I'll wait till
actually
Friday.
doing it on a Thursday.
Last part of it, Ghost. Sorry, I have to cough. Ghost Rider is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and the Dan Ketch version, which I think that one was looking at the bike. Yes, I did actually watch the Marvel live stream about that Ghost Rider, and it is the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider and bike, because apparently they did already do a Johnny Blaze one back in I think pre-COVID. So trying to find one of them right now.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
There we go.
We all do.
Pre-COVID, and I'm here coughing up a storm.
You having a visitor?
That's just hairballs, isn't it?
Come on,
I
then.
hear nothing about your hairy balls, guy.
No? Okay.
But yeah, that's it for the shout outs this week. We've only got the one.
Oh.
I think our quality is declining.
Well, come on, everybody. Book up.
Come on, Tony. Where's the
I
love?
was going to make a comment, however, I got some notification about like appearing, so
You still could have made a comment.
I suppose I should have.
What I'm playing there, guy. Can you see what I'm playing?
Oh, I can see you playing the world's smallest violin just for Jimmy there.
I thought being on the show would be a bit, be a bit odd, getting a shout out about yourself. So
why not?
yeah, well, next time for future reference, I will do the comment anyway.
I might make one myself.
Me too.
Why
Why not?
That was a glorious episode, wasn't it? Yes, it was.
I'll tell you what, right, Jimmy?
Well,
You make the comment, Guy will reply to it, I'll reply to Guy. There you go.
There you go. There's a chain.
Right.
Right, moving swiftly on.
Yes, moving very swiftly on before I die.
Yeah, stop dying. If you're going to die quietly.
But do you know what? I'm going to have to pause for 2 seconds. Hold on.
Oh.
of course.
Sorry about that. Everyone just had to go and cough up a spare lung. Yeah, I keep a spare in the back.
Yeah.
I have one.
Next to a third kidney.
To the left.
Now the left one's dodgy. That's why
right.
the most pain.
Okie dokie.
Anywho, enough about body parts. Let's talk about the eternal question. Watch him, boys and girls.
Well, I have been catching up on that there over there Supernatural with that them there Winchester boys, and they're no longer in their Impala, kitty cat tail, no longer in their Impala because I'm now neck deep in season 7. Where they had to give up the Impala and they're driving around in that really dodgy looking Dodge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm on season 7, episode 8.
Nice.
One with the wedding.
I'm on season 12.
And Jimmy's on season 0 because he hasn't even started watching it yet.
That was actually scheduled for tonight, but then there was other plans that came up.
I do apologize.
Inu turning up as well.
Oh,
this is
hello.
one.
Oh, we do love pussy on this show.
I was going to say, the fans can never complain that we don't show enough pussy on this channel.
No,
Yeah.
certainly not.
Between the three of us, there's a pussy in the room somewhere.
My cat regularly shows me.
Back on track. I have been watching Supernatural. I've been watching The Boys episode by episode. I watched because the first 3 episodes dropped, and then episode 4 came out a week later. So I'm up to date on The Boys. Got a lot of theories about that, but we will talk about that at the end of season 4 and see if any of my theories were actually close or way fucking off. But,
one thing we can say though, let's face it, the quality has not dropped.
Oh,
no.
We said this last episode. It's one of those shows that normally most shows, season 1, yeah, it's okay. Season 2, yeah, it's getting better. Season 3, best season ever. With The Boys, it's like season 1's fucking
awesome.
Season 2, 3, and now 4, it's like it's just uphill.
Yeah, it's the unusual climb.
It's just getting better and better as each episode goes on. I'm fucking loving it. So, but yeah, other than that, not really been watching much. Watched a few episodes of Mythbusters because Insomnia came to visit me.
Oh dear.
Oh, I did pick up. Tony might like this little films I picked up this week. I picked up The Candyman on DVD, the original.
Oh.
I picked up Arrow, the complete season 1 on Blu-ray. And I picked up Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, and all 3 only cost me £5.
Sweet.
So that was an even better freaking deal, especially the Arrow box set, £2 for a Blu-ray box set of 4 discs.
CX.
Yes, I was not passing that offer up. As soon as I seen it, I was like, for season 1 for £2 on Blu-ray, hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But other than that, no, I've not sat and watched it yet. I'm saving the Arrow box set for something that me and Guy fucked up on earlier in the season.
Yeah. Jimmy, what you got been watching?
As soon as I do this sort of video to video, and I had my Geek credentials sort of, yeah, question. I've managed to, I'm fully up to date with Gen V, done,
Nice.
I'm up to date with The Boys.
Nice.
I've watched Dread. Thank you, Callista. Fury Road was scheduled in for tonight, but again, other plans. I will catch up with that this week. I was going to do The Expanse, but again, that. But I've also watched Fallout. I am now
Nice.
up to date fully with Fallout, and thank you to my son, who has fully up to dated me with the X-Men 97.
Oh,
And he's now rewatching and reliving my joy of Spider-Man, the original
Nice.
97 months. So that's a nice added bonus. He's
Nice.
like, I'm literally playing it. We were playing it was the X-Men 97, and then he was playing Spider-Man right after.
wicked.
So
Good parenting. Good parenting.
See, and
praise him right.
this is one thing that I absolutely love, and we've talked about this on the show before, where as parents, we get to share our love of these cartoons that we grew up with as kids with our own children. And okay, it's a bit Marmite these days with them. The kids either love it or it's like, nah, that's not for me. But when they do share that same love of the thing that you grew up with, it's just that.
I've literally got AJ on my back. I've literally got AJ on my back, and he literally is going to the intro, and anytime he's actually swinging around. So it is.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's another reason why you need to get a PlayStation, so you can get the Spider-Man game and you can just web swing around for a bit, and he'll
I think he watched that.
Exactly.
I think he would watch that. So yeah, it is really nice. Although the other one he was doing recently, because he'd been watching the X-Men, he keeps doing this.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Well, we know who his favorites are then, don't we?
Yeah.
Wolverine.
I think he's got a thing for red and blue and yellows.
Why not? Why not?
Oh my God! I'm sorry.
It's a bit warm
Jeez.
today, isn't it? And I'm wearing a nice little summer dress, but I am. Whew, yeah. But yeah, so
That's that.
on to you, Guy. What you been watching?
Right. What have I been watching indeed? Well, I watched the finale of Doctor Who last
Ooh, don't spoil it for those who haven't seen it. You
night.
disappointed?
Read the face.
Oh dear. Is it? Has it? I'm going to christen this one on this channel, right? Has it pulled an MCU? It was good up until the end, and then they fucked the pooch.
Yep.
Right. That we're going to christen that now. That when a series does that, we're calling it pulling an MCU.
That's kind of, are we
Yeah,
christened it the MCU, or was it, because I thought it was originally christened the GOT, Game of Thrones ending.
Oh no.
Or is that when it gets really bad?
Yeah. That's when it's unsalvageable.
Two levels.
That's like, where do you go from this monumental cock up? That's a Game of Thrones. But when you
if you can't go anywhere but backwards, it's a Game of Thrones. But if you've got something you might be able to use, then it's an MCU.
Pulling an MCU, yeah, like you would do it okay, and then you fuck the pooch right at the end.
Yeah,
Anyway.
well, Doctor Who fucked it anally. So
Oh dear. Oh, right in the TARDIS.
yes,
Figure on
right
the-
in the tightest.
Oh dear.
Anyway, I think
Yes.
that covers that then.
It does. Of course, there's been the usual supernatural.
Of course. That goes without saying at this point. Like, I think we should only just say at this point when we've actually finished watching it. Like, we finally got to the end.
Yeah.
I can
Which I'll
finally
get
watch
to before
something
you.
else. Do you know? All right, I've got a feeling this is the way my brain goes unilaterally with shit sometimes. I've got a feeling that by the time I get to the end of Supernatural season 15, I'm gonna feel like Ripley in Alien 3 when she's tracking the alien to the basement and she says one of my favorite lines of Alien 3. Alien 3, if it's not a great film with theatrical cut, watch the assembly cut, it's much better. But anyway, there's a line in it where she says to the alien, "You've been in my life so long, I can't remember anything else." That's how I'm going to feel when Supernatural, when I get to that season finale. I'm going to be like, I've watched this for so long now. What do I watch after this? What can fill this space that Supernatural once occupied?
Well, my sister's answer to that would be start again and rewatch
Well, there is that.
No. Not 15 seats.
Oh fuck no!
I'm thinking of redoing Smallville afterwards.
To be fair, I have thought about that because not too long ago I did a rewatch of Gotham. Well, I say a rewatch of Gotham. When Gotham first aired, I watched season 1. And I kind of liked what it was setting up. It was like the early days of Jim Gordon, how he rose through the ranks and all that kind of stuff. I kind of liked where it was going. But then season 2 kind of lost me. And then seasons 3 and 4, and I think it was 5 seasons, got better because they started introducing the origins of the villains. Because in a lot of Batman media, when the villains show up, they're already quite well established. And that's what Gotham was trying to do. It's like, these villains have been around for a while. We're just waiting for Batman to be here, kind of thing. It was like, it was a chessboard. They were putting the pieces in the right place so that when Batman does show up, it's like, now we know why all of this is all interconnected and why these villains are so closely associated with Batman as a character.
Wrapped his origin because everybody knows his origin so well.
Yeah.
Let's do the villain's origin and why he ended up turning up.
So it was definitely one of those shows where season 1 was good. Season 2 was 3, 4, and 5 were they ended it. They kind of pulled a Smallville, as I jokingly call it, where you don't see Batman in suit until the very last episode, and then it's a blink and you miss it kind of moment. But seeing the setup of characters like the Riddler, the Penguin, Mr. Freeze, it's really, really good. And especially the storyline between Penguin and Riddler, that kept me hooked. The character of Riddler kept me hooked. So it's worth a rewatch if you've never watched Gotham.
I've never watched it, so.
Perfect time to check it out, guy. It's worth a watch if you've never seen it.
I'll have to figure out what it's on.
Netflix, I think. I watched it on Netflix. So it may be on Netflix still, but not 100% certain on that one.
Okay.
So,
right.
There we go.
Shall we move to the meat of the episode?
The meat of the episode, yes. Hit us with it, guy.
We're going to talk about Star Wars.
Yes.
The extended universe.
Yes. This was sort of a suggestion from me last week. I was talking to Guy about maybe revisiting Alien and Predator and by talking about the comics and video games and things like that. And Guy instantly went, next week, can we do Star Wars? So I was like, yes, it's a good setup into the premise. So I think for the next few episodes, they're going to be franchised with expanded media at the end of it. So for this first one, yes, we are doing the Star Wars expanded media. And as I just said, this covers everything from comic books, video games, novels, Flash animation on the internet, anything that is Star Wars related, but not necessarily canon. That is what we're talking.
This is going to be one of the issues, isn't it?
One of the things here is a slight sore issue. Should we just go straight into it? The Star Wars Legends, as they now call.
Oh, you're just going to bend me straight over. You don't want foreplay.
Okay. No. Let's just get straight into it, and then we can have a nice cigarette afterwards and talk about the shit show that followed it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right. Let's go then, Guy. Give us the spiel.
Right. So, once upon a time, back in 1991, beer was cheap and plentiful. Music was fantastic. And along came a book called Heirs to the Empire by an author named Timothy Zahn, which was the first ever expanded universe Star Wars book.
It was, that's correct.
And quite frankly, it was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Because at first, I must have met someone I knew back from the JC days had these books. So I was a bit of sort of like scoffing, shall we say. A bit like, Star Wars in a book, I don't know. Yeah. Then I read them.
And you were blown away.
I can't explain the sheer just visceral thrill of having no Star Wars to having more Star Wars.
Yeah. With new characters, new
New characters,
places.
yeah. And quite frankly, some brilliant new characters.
Yeah.
Grand Admiral Thrawn,
Yeah.
for a start.
Yes.
And the Heir to the Empire trilogy was, quite frankly, fucking fantastic. And then the dam fell in and the books kept coming.
Oh, yeah. Fans absolutely lapped it up because what I can remember of them, they were sort of a continuation of the events set up in the films,
Yes.
but also their own thing.
Yes. And hence now we have the dating system BBY and ABY.
Yes, exactly. So fans lapped it up because like we oftenly say on this show, shit content is better than no content. But if you flip that to saying that good content is better than no content, as in if the studios are not making films and authors want to throw their pen into the ring, shall we say, and write stories based on these events and these characters, but in a new way, expand it, take it further, by all means, let them do that. Because I think the one thing a lot of the Star Wars fans don't seem to recognize is that a lot of the stuff, the reason why this franchise has endured the way it has is because of things like these comic books, novels, games, and things like that. For those who are true hardcore fans and will seek out every little bit of information they can, will go to these books, comics, video games to get this information, especially when back in the day it was considered canon, that the events were actually part of the Star Wars film universe and that there was the potential for, if Star Wars films were ever made again, because we've got to remember early 90s, we only had the original trilogy. We didn't have the prequel trilogy at that point. We didn't have the Disney.
It was kind of being rumored, but
there was rumors of the prequel trilogy in the
wasn't the thing.
90s, but it was shaky ground. There was no concrete evidence. Sorry, that was a freaking motorbike going past. But yeah, so to think that these events, these comic books, all these novels and things that we were reading were taking place in the same universe as these films that we grew up loving was, there's the draw, there's the appeal. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. We remember the dark times.
When there was no content at all.
Exactly.
You know, between the end of Return of the Jedi and those books coming out, the only thing that kids like us had was the action figures. The only stories we had set in the Star Wars universe were the stories that were in here that we recreated with our toys, you know. So,
and books kept coming. Can you see that?
Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire. Absolute classic. This should be made to Marvel animation. Disney should do an animation of this.
I think they should. I really think they should. And there is actually a video game as well called Shadows of the Empire. I'm not sure if it's based on the book, but I have played it. It's a first-person shooter built on the Doom engine, so it runs very much like Doom.
Right.
But it's still a very fun game to play. And I can't quite remember that it's been a very long time since I played it, but I can't quite remember the story about it. There are so many Star Wars games, and I can only remember so many of them.
There are a lot of them from various different perspectives.
Yeah.
That's the
Various
thing
different
with the
game
Planet
genres.
universe. It's like you can be a TIE fighter pilot, you could be a X-Wing
Well, the Rogue
pilot,
Squadron games. There's the
you
Rogue
could be a
Squadron games where
Jedi.
you are
There's that many.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's the Rogue Squadron games where you are a fighter pilot. There's the Shadow of the Empire game. There's the Jedi Outcast series, which is bounces between first person and third person.
Mm.
That and again that was considered canon up until Disney.
Yeah, the Jedi
things.
Academy series, the first two especially, are brilliant. And
Can actually
three
get
was
them.
good.
You can actually buy the first two on remaster now for PS4 and Xbox One.
Mm.
But
And
yes,
let's not forget Battlefront.
Battlefront, the original for the PS2 and original
The
Xbox.
original two.
How many hours did we all waste between us on that game?
I remember at JC living with one of my friends. There was Friday night parties when everyone was too broke to go out. We'd have a Friday night in on the Xbox because you could have 4-player Galactic Conquest mode where you could either play as the Empire and take over everything or play as the Rebels and liberate everything. And we would actually do teams of two. So it was 2 people as the Rebels, 2 people as the Empire, and we were constantly fighting for control. And
Nice.
it was like a game of Monopoly. We were there for about 7 or 8 hours. They were such great, fun games, running around as stormtroopers, hitting absolutely nothing because, that's what stormtroopers do. But yeah, they were some of my best times. Again, you can get those on more modern consoles. I know on the Xbox One, they are backwards compatible if you have them on disc. The newer Battlefront games they brought out, the first one had no story. It was just a set of multiplayer maps, and that was pretty much it. There was no.
Look at the pretty graphics. Look at the pretty graphics.
Well, to be fair, I did have that game, and the graphics when you were on like Hoth and you see the snowdrift getting blown around while you're laser blasting and everything, it was impressive to look at. Battlefront 2, yes, it was mainly a multiplayer game, but it did have a single player story that tried to link the events of Return of the Jedi to The Force Awakens. You still play the interim, and it's not the world's best story ever written. I will say that, but it is a fun storyline to play through. You've got a mix of like stealth missions where you play as different characters, sort of flashbacks where you play as Luke and Darth Vader and things like that. So there is very gameplay to it. It's just not very long. It maxes out, even if you take your time, it maxes out at about 6 hours. But the one benefit of it is Lando Calrissian is in the game, and he is voiced by Billy D. fucking Williams.
Yeah, Billy D.
So, yeah, and he does have some comedy moments in there with a character called Shriv. If you've never played the game, go and look up the gameplay online of Lando and Shriv. And, yeah.
But
they're worth playing if you've never played it, but
pretty graphics aside, can that beat the thrill of playing the original?
No,
battling on Hoth and then Vader pops out.
No, they are not a scratch. They are not a scratch on the original in terms of gameplay. Still, like I said, good game to play. But when you compare it to the original, the fun you can have, like I said, the Galactic Conquest mode, the multiplayer maps you could do, the heroes versus villains kind of thing you can do. It kind of does that, but just not as good. It's, again, Battlefront 2, the new version it's like the original, but not as good. One thing I will say though is the ship combat where you're actually flying around in the fighters.
Yeah.
Thanks to modern control schemes, that's much more intuitive and much more fluid to use because the analog sticks are obviously more sensitive and you can go faster. You can control your speed a hell of a lot more than you could in the original one. So the flying combat is definitely improved over the original, but that does not mean that it's worth playing over the original games. Sorry.
No, I totally agree.
Jimmy, anything you want to add?
I'm trying to think now. You've put me on the spot. No, literally my experience of the expanded universe is like it goes from one extreme to the other, and mostly the other. And it started with the video games that do appear behind me, Knights of the Old Republic, which you
Yes,
said you were
Ah,
gonna.
Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. I was going to mention them, but I knew you wanted to speak about them, so I left this one for you.
Yeah,
Go on,
yeah.
continue.
No, Knights of the Old Republic. That was where, for me, a lot of the expanded media kicked off. I'm going to actually save the main games of those two for you, simply because you'll cover them probably a lot better. But those two fed on from the graphic novels that I remember
mm,
getting from various libraries, coming across, being lent, and God knows what I'm reading through them. And that end of the expanded, it's like it's set 4 to 5 thousand years before the Battle of Yavin. So
yeah.
you, and the guys you come across in there are far more powerful than the guys you see on this big screen in the film half the time. You've got like Nagasado, Marka Ragnos, Exar Kun, Ulick
Mm,
Keldra, you end up with Revan, you've got Malak, you've got the Mandalorians, and everybody knows the word Mandalorian these days.
Now
It
I
starts,
do. Yes. I
they
was actually
do
going to
now.
say, I'll interject this
Originally,
one.
originally that started with one guy who was an extra who had virtually no lines in one little the middle bit film of the original trilogy.
Yeah,
And a
Mr.
man
Feet.
called Fett,
No, Feet.
Boba Fett.
Bob A. Feet. That's it. That's his
Yeah, but and it's been
Bob
mean.
A.
I
Feet.
mean, that one character's got his own entire expanded universe in the later stuff, and he's
yeah.
a far cooler character and becomes Mandalore later. But that one character spawned the Mandalorians in the graphic novels, and well, his ancestors are far, far, far more powerful and far more resilient than
Mm,
See,
some of the incarnations even the House of Mouse have brought out.
seeing as you brought him up, we will talk about Darth Raven because that's one that, from what I understand, has recently caused a bit of a stir within the Star Wars fan
Yes,
base.
Revan's a
Because,
big character.
yeah, there's been action figures released of him, and he was kind of like one of these characters that no one seemed to really acknowledge outside of the video games. And then all of a sudden, a figure comes out of him, and he's getting
Yeah,
more, getting bigger and more traction
bigger.
just recently. So, talking about the video games, Knights of the Old Republic, these were role play video games that came
Yeah.
out on the original Xbox.
As daft as they were turn based as well, which is a bit
Well,
old
yeah,
now.
that's the thing. They
mm,
were and they weren't really turn. It was
Yeah,
kind of a hybrid. It
the
was a weird
hybrid.
style. Basically, you had your character, you made your own character, you were a Jedi, you could go which either way you wanted, you could be light side, dark side, blah, 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 blah. But the combat in it was you'd basically select an attack and your character would keep attacking one character with the attacks you were like pressing along the bottom of the screen
Yeah,
until that one character was dead or you selected another target.
yeah,
And you also had other players, other characters that followed
yeah.
you that you could switch to on the fly to get them to pick off other targets. So it was
Yeah. And I remember
open
literally
combat,
going,
but turn-based.
yeah,
It was very bit of a hybrid style, very hard to explain. But there is rumors there's going to be a remake of it. It's been rumored for a while.
I was going to
that's
say.
been rumored for a
It,
very, very long time.
it
Because
was
it was supposed to be a number three, and that kind of became the online sensation of what they've got of literally it's the old Republic.
well, kind of, but
And Evan does
yeah.
show up there too. He's got his own book.
Knights of the Old Republic introduced Darth Ravin, which was your player character.
Revan.
Revin, whatever.
Revan.
Revan.
That would be my username.
Introduce that
Mispronunciation.
character, and depending on your play style, because like I said, it was a role playing game. Depending on your play style, you could either go light side or dark side. And because the character's name has been brought up quite a lot, and I've heard something recently that there's a reason why the Empire has a secret platoon known as the Raven Squadron.
Yeah.
So if they're going to start importing things from video games, I kind of think that's a good thing because it shows that Disney are kind of a little bit more open to maybe taking some of the expanded media stuff and recanonizing it.
Yeah. It was either a very, very good fan-made quality kind of
There's a lot of
idea.
fan-made stuff out there, I will say
Yeah,
that.
and there is a lot of that. Or it was a suggestion by a fan, and they were doing a poster and things, and I'd heard rumors. But the perfect guy to play Revan in any film is Keanu Reeves.
Do you know what? Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
I could see that working. That's a good casting choice.
If they want, and honestly, if the House of Mouse listening, and they wanted to go the 4,000 years prior to because they've done what they call and dub, and they've redubbed it the Skywalker saga. They wanted to go somewhere else with it, and they wanted to go to one of the more favorites. One of the more favorites is Knights of the Old Republic era stuff.
Yeah.
And if they were going to cast somebody in a film,
Keanu Reeves, definite, hands down on that one.
Not like they can't afford it.
True.
They probably would not be able to afford it.
Use some of that Marvel money.
Because although you could pick and choose how your character actually looks, and it's an old game now, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, click away now and go and play that game. But the big spoiler is you're actually playing as the amnesiac Revan.
Yeah.
So you are the Sith Lord. You just don't remember this.
And like I said, you can go light side or dark side with it.
And that's why you can pick light side, you can pick dark side, and you can do your own thing. And
let's get it moved forward now.
But
Knights of the Republic, very good. If you've not played it,
Keanu Reeves. But then you've got there's mentions of names like Marco Ragnos's tombs in there, Nagasada tomb, and they're actually comic book characters. Further.
Again, like we said earlier, this was all considered canon at one point.
Yeah, and this was all considered canon. And the same as you are literally, when you are playing in that game, you come across another character called Joe Lee Bindo. And he fought in a war against a guy called Exar Kun.
Okay.
And that, for those of you who don't know...
We're moving on. Shut up.
The double blade lightsaber guy. But I will now move on and allow somebody else to talk.
Shut the fuck up. I'm trying to be polite. Shut the fuck up. I said we're moving on. We're moving the fuck on. Right.
No.
On to the next bit of expanded media. Guy.
Comics. Let's talk comics, people.
Yes. Well, I do remember reading one of the comic books. I was talking to Jimmy about this last night. It focused on Han and Leia's children, and it was basically set sort of, I can't fully remember because I'm going back from I read it once when I was in high school. It was a friend's comic book, so I didn't even own it. I vaguely remember the storyline basically being that their children had grown up and they were hunting down the remnants of the Empire. From what I can vaguely remember of it. It's a 20-year-old hazy fucking memory. Enough said. But go on, Guy, continue.
Yeah, one of my favorites has got to be Crimson Empire, which focuses on the Imperial Royal Guard. Oh, my God.
I was going to say, I do know that one.
It's a fantastic comic. I thoroughly recommend it.
Yes, I love the design of the Crimson Guard. They look imposing, but they can move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whoa.
Statues when they're on guard, but you put them on the battlefield.
Yeah. Okay, tangent here. One thing that I will actually give praise to one of the Disney films, that fight scene with Rey, Kylo Ren, and all the Red Guard, the Crimson Guard. That I liked that fight scene.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
That was the one part of that film I actually enjoyed was that fight scene.
I did not like that one.
No, the film itself was, but that fight scene.
That fight scene still, it's like if you go back, there's certain bits. If you rewatch it, you could start seeing certain edits and some big edits they had to make.
True.
But honestly, if you are like a first-time viewer, yes, go do what these do, and then never watch it again. because otherwise you will spot all the errors that I spotted, and then you end up in that
Yeah,
problem.
but saying that's one good fight scene in that film is like saying it's like putting frosting and a cherry on a dog shit and calling it a Danish pastry.
Okay, well, I'll give it.
You know what I
some credit.
mean?
Yeah, I'll give it some credit. In an otherwise bad film, that is a highlight.
Yeah, exactly my point. Exactly my
There we
point.
go.
But yeah, see, and then like guys' recommendation there, Crimson Empire. Go and
Yeah.
check that one out. Very good comic book.
And Dark Empire.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Nice.
I don't remember the titles of most of
And
my.
I
I think most of them-
suppose, seeing as we're on Star Wars expanded media, Guy,
Yes.
let's talk the animation, shall we? With
Yeah.
Clone Wars, Rebels,
Wow.
Bad Batch.
All ticks for me. I enjoyed all of them.
I only watched the very, very early episodes of Clone Wars when they were shown on Cartoon Network.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I watched the early seasons of that, and I liked the animation style. Took me a little while to adjust to, but at the same time as that show was airing, my daughter actually had the Disney Infinity 3.0, and it came with Anakin and young Ahsoka. They were the playable characters you got with it. And their character designs were very similar to the Clone Wars design. So I kind of got what they were going for, like a sort of a connected universe sort of thing. I kind of liked it, but life being life, I ended up not watching all of it. It is on Disney Plus. I may have to give it a rewatch. So
seriously, Clone Wars. I probably have to rewatch some of the later stuff because I did watch a lot of the earlier stuff. Because again, that was one of the only things you can watch on the TV. That's not the films at that point in history.
well, when it first came out, yeah,
it was one of the only. Yeah, it's like I want to watch Star Wars, but I haven't got time for the film.
Yeah,
Clone
exactly.
Wars.
Exactly. But I've not watched Rebels or Bad Batch. Hands in the air, not watched either of those.
Rebels you need to watch.
I know that Freddie Prinze Jr. voices one of the main characters in it.
He does.
That alone kind of makes me want to watch it because think whatever you want, but I think Freddie Prinze Jr. is a good actor. I do like. He's famous for his teen romance rom-com kind of things, but you put him in a good action role, he's good.
He's a fun actor.
Going to a separate franchise briefly with that actor, I like the Mass Effect appearance he made.
Mass Effect 3, where he voiced one of the main characters, one of your
mates. He made that was a really good.
Yeah.
And I heard about that character, and I thought a lot of people thought about slating him off, but he turned out to be a really good character. So again,
he's turned to a really good voice actor.
Yeah, he is a very good actor.
I liked him when he appeared in Bones.
Problems with him.
Appeared in Bones as well. I liked his character in Bones.
Yeah,
a recurring character that he had. I liked that was seeing a completely different side to him. I mean, Fred Scooby Doo.
And then he had a
podcast. You get typecast into one role for too long, and then people only ever remember for that. And then when you try and break out.
Although, bit of trivia, he did have a stint as a writer for WWE for a few years. So there you go.
Yes, he did. He did. I do remember hearing about that. Yeah. Bad Batch, is that any good?
Yes, that's worth a go as well.
Right. Well, I know what I'm going to be watching after Supernatural. I have something to fill the void of Supernatural now. Once it's
do start with Rebels, then do Bad Batch.
That was my plan. That was my plan.
Because Rebels has got some really cool sort of people coming in and out.
Yeah,
and there's some really good characters.
Well, I have seen like from clips and stuff online, and obviously because doing the collecting thing, I follow a lot of action figure news. And when I watch like toy news that's coming out, obviously Star Wars Black Series from Hasbro gets a lot of mentions, and I do see that there are quite a few characters that are now starting to appear in the live action shows that were in the animated shows. So there's
which is really cool.
Like we said earlier, this nice little crossing things back over and making things canon once again. I think is good that Disney's doing it, but I honestly think that the whole Star Wars Legends thing, there are too many good stories in there.
Yeah, it was a boot in the teeth.
The one thing I can say is
I mean, they put an entire section of the Yuzhan Vong.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
anybody who read the Yuzhan Vong,
I don't know
the
if
next
Disney,
real big bad.
I don't know if Disney do actually listen to us, right? But Disney, if you are listening, if you are
Yuzhan
watching my
Vong.
channel and taking hints, here's an idea for you. You took enough faith in the MCU to do a what if series, to take your beloved characters and go, what if this happened? Well, why not do Star Wars? What if?
What if?
And adapt a lot of these stories into animated half an hour shorts or an animated feature length thing and just put it under the Star Wars what if banner. Because one of the real kind of curveballs that I saw once was it was sort of a Star Wars what if, but it was basically Darth Vader actually switched to the light side and started sporting a different type of armor. I'd love to see that in either live action or animation, like a Darth Vader actually going full circle and coming back to the light side.
What if Darth Vader survived the Death Star and joined Luke?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it, from what I remember of it, pretty much what it is. I'd love to see that adapted.
He returns to Anakin.
Pardon?
Yeah.
He returns to Anakin.
Yeah, I would love to.
Anakin with the white dog. I think I've seen like concepts. It's like literally it's Darth Vader's suit is totally white.
Yes.
So it's like
So
it's like it's Anakin in the suit.
But yeah, honestly, I think Disney should do something like a Star Wars what if universe and just dip into these stories that are the legends that they claim it to be and adapt those for different media, because much like with the MCU, there is so much out there that they're not doing with and they could do stuff with.
Yeah.
Werewolf by Night and stuff like that. We've talked about this previously. That they should jump on it while people are, looking for things like this. It's such a rich history that kept the franchise going. Go back to it. Explore the better sides of it, because not all of it was great. We will say not all of it was great.
They did this somewhat in a few of the Jedi Academy games that I played. They actually put Marka Ragnos, who was, like I said, he was 4,000 years, 5,000 years ruler before, but then they brought him up to date with Luke, and it's like this immensely powerful dark side user versus your character, and it's like not even a patch on Darth Vader. He's massively more overpowered. I mean, Darth Sion's another one, and he's just a literal walking corpse held together by the dark side of the Force. And it's like you bring some of them, that sort of a character, into some of the modern stuff, or you even give them a mention, and it's gonna help people go to the legend stuff as well. So you just
So let's frame this discussion. What would be our recommendations and a wish list from the House of the Mouse?
Oh, okay. Well, I did just say there the whole Darth Vader surviving and turning to the light side. I'd love to see that. The other one I would love to see is actually, as daft as it sounds, do an adaptation of Knights of the Old Republic as a TV show.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because the game was so long and the storyline was so kind of
you can
complex. Do it as a 10 episode TV season. Do it as a one-off kind of season thing, 10 episodes. Like Jimmy was saying earlier, get Keanu Reeves to play Raven. Boom.
And if it was animated, if it was an animated thing, they could just get into voice actors.
Yeah, if we're going to go live action,
get him in.
Malkovich.
John Malkovich is Malik.
Yeah.
The guy with the metal plate over his mouth.
Yeah, Malice.
Yeah, get Malkovich to play him. You got Malkovich versus Reeves.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'd love to see that. Disney, if you're listening, please do that. That would be my wish list. Those two. That would be my top two.
Marvelous.
With a lightsaber battle, yeah.
Oh, actually, I have one more. Yoda in training. Yoda learning to use his abilities and
Yeah.
his powers.
Padawan Yoda.
Yeah, Padawan Yoda. Yes.
Padawan
I would love
Yoda.
to see that. I would love
Yeah,
to see
that'd
that.
be good. I'd like to see more of the Darth Bane stuff
Hmm.
because that sort of period isn't. It's covered in books, it's covered in graphic novels and such, but
Yeah.
it's not very much touched upon, and that some of that actually crosses into the period of time where Yoda's actually born and around, and you could tie that into the Padawan Yoda. That's how you
There
could
you
do
go.
it. You
See?
could start with Bane and his sort of end, and maybe have Yoda turning up toward the end, and then you're starting to see where it's going into where the films
Like
are.
they did in The Mandalorian with Luke showing up.
Yes, yes.
There you go.
That,
There you
that
go.
is the
See?
kind of idea, you'd have that kind of an idea, but
You know what?
you spend the time on.
Disney, if you're hiring 3 people right here, we'll work for you. As long as you
Not
keep
for
me
free.
clean, keep me happy, I'll work for you. You keep a
We
roof
won't
over
pay.
my head, I'll be happy, Disney. You know, I'd gladly work for Disney. You know what I mean? If it corrects the course of a franchise,
Yeah.
hire me,
Oh.
bitch. Hire me.
Right, so my turn. I have a recommendation.
Go
Which
on
is-
then.
With the light shining on it, actually. Star Wars Death Star. This is a story about the construction of the Death Star and the
Ah,
events that happened during it. From the
There's
point of view of 5 strangers,
all
an
just
Imperial
working.
pilot, a librarian, a bar owner, a prison guard, and a prisoner who stowed away, and a doctor who was conscripted by the Empire.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at the thought of the Death Star has a bar.
Yeah,
Makes sense. You staff that many people. They're
Eddie
gonna be
Izzard
doing
in the
what?
Death Star Cantina.
shitloads of bars.
Yeah,
You've not
you
seen
know.
Eddie Izzard in the Death Star Cantina scene.
Oh God, no! It's not got that.
What's
But,
carbonara?
and a certain Death Star gunner,
Oh.
and all these 5 people, 5, 6, 7 people, whatever it is. It's all their story, and they all get interlinked, and they all decide to leave.
Ah.
A very good point to leave. And of course, you get Vader, you get Tarkin.
Yeah.
It is a bloody brilliant book. I thoroughly recommend it. It's by Michael Reeves and Steve Perry, who are both veteran
I was going to say
X-Men Universal.
Steve Perry. Tangent. Steve Perry is actually one of the writers for one of my favorite books, which is it's a very strange thing. This is a novelization of a graphic novel, which is the original Alien versus Predator comic books.
Mm.
Because in that, Steve Perry and one of the other writer actually sat down and came up with a sort of a language for the Predators.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the novelization is it tells more of the story from the Predator's point of view. So you actually get those blanks filled in that are in the comic book, like where it's just a predator scene of predators fighting or something. You actually get kind of their inner monologue,
Yeah.
which adds to the story so much more because it's like the odd couple, a predator and a human working together. And on one side, you've got her inner monologue, and then the other side, you've got the predator's inner monologue, where they're basically saying the same thing about each other, but in an opposite kind of way. So it adds more to it. But yeah.
I thoroughly recommend this. This also should be animated.
Yeah.
By Disney. So do check that out. Also, do check out Rebels and Clone Wars if you've not watched it. Because you just get more.
Yeah.
You get more time in that universe, far, far away.
Yes, we do. We do.
If wish list wise, I'd like to see more of the underfringes of the galaxy, the criminal aspect,
Yes.
the smuggling and the information brokering. You know,
there was actually a video game planned called Star Wars 1313 that was going to explore that more shadier side of the Star Wars universe. But unfortunately, was being developed right at the time when Disney bought Star Wars. So it was one of those projects that got the chop.
Yeah.
It was at that point when
projects like that got chopped.
Yeah, it was more the case that because it was such a violent video game, and there is footage of it out there. You can find footage of it online. It was quite graphically violent, like lasering people's limbs off and things like that.
Yeah.
It was quite graphically violent, and Disney basically put an axe on it because they didn't want something like that going out when they were trying to do a more family-friendly version of Star Wars with The Force Awakens. You know, and to be honest, at the time when they were buying up Star Wars, every franchise and its grandmother were doing that. Yes, we're doing this franchise, but we're doing it dark and edgy and gritty and and
yeah,
where Star Wars has gone, because it got bought out by House of Mouse, and they went the light way. Star Trek seems to have had that other problem, and they've got the other way.
You thought it was a utopia where humanity got along? No, fuck you.
No. It's like they looked across at it. You seem to be sticking that into the to that. Where this way?
Yeah.
That way, please.
Right, is that it for your wish list, guy?
Well, that and obviously the open world Star Wars game that we need, Grand Theft Auto style.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Fucking traveling the galaxy, going anywhere.
I'm sorry, right? If a game like hold on, Jimmy. If a game like No Man's Sky can exist, where you can literally jump in a ship and fly from planet to planet to planet and explore a full planet, you can do a Star Wars game where you are a Jedi or a bounty hunter or some other thing like that, where you go to different planets and you hunt down bounties and things like that. That needs to be a thing.
I'd like to see them do that, but not be allowed to be a full Jedi or Sith. Somebody who's Force sensitive, perhaps, because they do exist. So you can use there are characters in the entire expanded media. They aren't actual Jedi.
Yeah,
they
we
aren't
know.
Sith. They're not
Force
one or the other.
Force
They do have
types,
certain limited Force powers and abilities, but they have to rely on their real world.
Well, just give the player, give a player create a character, let them make their own character, and then you can literally take whatever path you want. You can either train to be a bounty hunter, or train to be a fighter pilot, or go to a Jedi academy. And if you are,
maybe for like
sensitive, whatever.
Yeah.
That needs to be a thing.
You eventually have to but you actually go through proper training.
Right, we are going to have to start wrapping things up now. So, Jimmy, quickly, your recommendations and wish lists. What would you like to see from the House of Mouse?
Too much, probably. Like I say,
more of what we've just said, yeah.
more of the same, really. Yeah, Revan definitely could, but I'd like to see more of Bane. Certain aspects. There was the mind bomb force power that was introduced in that period of time, like sort of, because I've got a lot of the old Republic stuff. Bring some of that in.
Yeah, I can see that.
Fill that gap, and then because they are taking the direction with the Mandalorian, with Ashoka and of the expanded universe going that way, going forward.
And the new Acolyte show that's just come out.
And the Acolyte, but maybe add a little bit of the old expanded universe, maybe some hints of the Yuzan Vong in, maybe some hints of the Mandalorian clans coming back in properly, other than the Mandalorian.
Any recommendations?
Recommendations?
Anything to do with the Great Hyperspace War. I cannot remember the actual titles of comics. It's Great Hyperspace War, anything to do with XR Kun. All of that is great. And just, again, I think the comic series was Knights of the Old Republic as a comic series, but it was done from the perspective of a Jedi Padawan and a Mandalorian exile that had basically teamed up and got exiled. And
I remember hearing about that.
It brings in Revan and it brings in Malik and it brings and explains some of that. But you're actually following somebody else who's sort of on the fringes of the war. So it's from another perspective, but anything to do with that. Some of them are very hard to collect, though.
Well, that sounds like a good recommendation then.
Anything
Right, so that will about do us for this week, folks.
Mhm.
We've been us, you've been you. Thank you very much. Of course, give it up for Jimmy Lee. Yay.
Down there in little box.
And of course, for Miss Cali.
Catch you next week,
Rubber to my glue.
everyone. Yeah, because everything bounces off me and sticks to you, especially McDonald's burgers.
Yeah, tell me about it. Anyway, folks, I've been the Random Man with the Plan. I'll see you down the road. Take it easy.
Night, everyone. Bye.